Hello everyone, welcome. There's no song today because there's not much to sing about really. What a shitty start to the show. Let's get straight into it. And the first two stories today is the breaking news that Raymond Poulidor has died at the age of 83. A French icon when it comes to cycling, and when we talk about cycling and its history, you can't not mention Raymond Poulidor. And if it wasn't for the likes of Jacques Anquetil and Eddy Merckx, this man could be talked about as one of the most successful cyclists in the world. However, he had some titanic battles with Anquetil, ultimately never prevailing and never winning the Tour de France. And once Anquetil had retired, it looked likely that Poulidor actually might end up winning a Tour de France. But then Eddy Merckx just rocks up and kind of spoils the party for the French. However, that's not to say that he wasn't a prolific winner. Winning the likes of La Vuelta in 1964, he also won Milan-San Remo, he also won Flèche Wallonne. So yes, he might never have won the Tour de France, but he won stages, and ultimately, this man was an icon of cycling. And next up, a tragic story coming out of Australia. In the early hours of this morning, Kieran Modra, the 47-year-old Paralympic cyclist and swimmer, was unfortunately killed when he was involved in a collision with a driver of a car. Kieran was out on his own, riding to see some friends in the early hours of Wednesday morning when he was hit by a Kia sedan on the Stuart Highway. Modra was an Australian Paralympic swimmer and tandem cyclist who won 5 gold medals and 5 bronze medals at 8 different Paralympic Games from 1988 to 2016, and he also won 2 silver medals at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow in 2014. This tragedy of Kieran Modra actually followed a plea from the top cops in the state, who criticised drivers for showing a lack of concern and empathy for the lives lost this year after 6 deaths in 5 days. 6 deaths in 5 days. That brings a total of people killed out on the roads in Australia to 97 this year. When you compare it to 2018, there was only 63. I mean, 63 is still far too many. That's 63 too many, in my opinion. I genuinely believe that every single person who takes a driving exam or driving lessons should spend 1 hour of their time on the road as a cyclist. There's far too many people out there driving cars who never experience what it's like to be a cyclist out on the road. And when you realize how vulnerable, I mean, listen, I'm preaching to the choir here, I know this. But when you realize how vulnerable you are, it puts a completely different perspective on sitting in that car and driving along. And it gives you that empathy that you need to actually stop for a second and think, all right, I know what that person's feeling right now. They're feeling vulnerable. I'm going to give them plenty of space. If I give them plenty of space, I know that they're definitely going to live. And if everybody does that, then that person there is probably going to get home again to see their family. So yeah, bit of a shitty start to the day's news. Alright, moving on to the next story of the day, and yesterday we saw Shane Sutton giving evidence in the Dr Freeman case. We knew it was going to be spicy, it's bloody Shane Sutton for God's sake. But just how spicy, I don't think anyone was expecting it. The ex-British cycling technical director Shane Sutton furiously denied claims that he is a doper before storming out of Dr Richard Freeman's medical tribunal. So Freeman is now alleging that back in 2011 he ordered testo-gel or testosterone patches to be delivered to the British cycling headquarters, claiming that they were for Shane Sutton and his erectile dysfunction. In a very heated confrontation between Sutton and Dr Freeman's lawyer Mary O'Rourke QC, Sutton repeatedly denied this and her claim he doped during his racing career. And Sutton used the words that I'm sure, who was it now? Oh, Lance Armstrong, he used the same words. I've never been tested positive. You doped in your career. Well, I didn't because I never tested positive. Not the same thing, is it? All right, so let's just be clear, not a journalist, all right? So I don't know what the hell's going on here, but Dr. Freeman ordered these testo-gel testosterone patches, right? Got them delivered to British Cycling. claim that they were for Shane Sutton when he got found out about them, then Shane Sutton denies that. Why would Sutton deny it? Because by denying it, he's opening a massive can of worms there. Because if they're not for him, then they're definitely for an athlete. Whereas Sutton could have just said, yeah, couldn't get a stiffy, so just asked Doc to supply me with a bit of testosterone, just to give me some push, because my wife was getting a bit bored with old limp Sutton. So he ordered them, I got them. Yeah, got a bit of a dick problem, Anna. And then that would have been it. But Sutton refuses to admit that he had any problem downstairs, and claims that these patches aren't for him, which means that Dr. Freeman ordered them. Well, for an athlete, it can't be for anything else. If it was for something else, he would have told the truth. So I don't bloody know. I mean, it's a massive blow to British cycling. I think British cycling is currently imploding, which I couldn't give a monkey's about, to be fair, if I'm honest. But yeah, what I mean, leave your comments down below. There's people out there who do way more research than me, who will know more about this case. Were they for Wiggins? Were they for Froome? Like, does he just have to take this to his grave now and say, listen, I'm the fall guy, I've got to take responsibility for this. I'm not going to tell you who they were for. Just accept that he lied and take whatever punishment he can get. Or does he just blow the whistle and say, sorry guys, Brad Adam. Or whatever. I don't know if they were for Wiggins. Maybe they were. But leave your comments down below. Let me know what the hell is going on in this story, because I mean, I might have provided you with a bit of information there, but I'm no closer to knowing exactly what's going on here. The tribunal continues on Thursday. Boosh. All right, next up, and this seems to be a headline across the world of cycling at the minute. Mark Cavendish crashed in Ghent.
En dat is bij deze het geval. Mark Cavendish en Ingo Krijsing waren er vol overgave mee bezig met de naroding. En Mark is okay.
I guess what makes it a bigger story than it actually is the fact that he crashed on his own. Listen, Ghent is a very, very small track. It's only like 160, 170 metres, something like that. So those corners are bloody tight, and he obviously just got his line wrong, ended up on the Côte d'Azur, and then just ended up flicking himself off. Nothing major, a bit of a silly mistake, bit of a rookie mistake to make from Cav there. That's it. And finally, Sam Bennett wins this week's prize for Best Tweet of the Week. He tweeted, "Arrived at my gate and there was no seats left at the gate. So I pretended to queue. All the elderly Irish jumped up to queue in a panic. I strolled off and took my time to choose whatever seat I wanted." Smug face with the sunglasses emoji. They are standing 50 minutes before our flight. Laughing with tears emoji, hands up in the air emoji, with a picture of said elderly Irish. Well, I say to that, Sam Bennett, how dare you make the elderly stand up? Unbelievable. How dare you? Cracking idea though. I'm definitely going to use that next time I need a seat in the airport. All right, and we're going to leave the news there for today. Make sure you leave your comments down below. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed the video. If you've disliked it, hit that dislike button. Get involved in those comments down below, and we will see you on Friday.